And now we're going to build a display tab, so an output tab on to our right. So let's copy one of these formats and paste an exact same replica to the right. It's gonna look kind of like this. And then let's do a little bit of formatting. I don't think we need to take notes for this part, so we're gonna just erase this part. So Control Space, Control Minus. And I also don't think that we don't need this much space for our display tab. So let's just erase a couple tabs, a couple columns. Make this part a little bit shorter, and let's shift this to the right, Control R. Let's add another column in between, and we're gonna name this tab. Let's choose a little bit darker color. Yeah, I think we want to make it black. So we're gonna say let's say input assumptions by scenario. Let's change font color back to white. And then, yeah, let's Control 1, center across selection. We want to beautify our scenario analysis. So let's put it to the center. Again, Control 1, let's also draw a white border to the bottom. So yeah, now it looks much better. Let's make something similar here as well. So I'm just gonna copy this part, paste it over here, shift to the right, erase the data here, and we're gonna just overwrite output for display only. And lastly, I think these columns look a little bit narrow compared to the input tabs. So let's also try to match the column width, which is 7.56. So from here to here, 7.56. Yep, looks much better. So now the question is, what kind of information do we want to look here? What kind of information do you want to know depending on the changes of our scenario? Obviously, of course, number one would be target price. So number one would be the value per share results from our DCF valuations. So first of all, what we want to know is the target price. So let's write target target price. And then let's link our data to the DCF tab and bring value per share numbers to our display tab. Next, usually we want to know what happens to the revenue. So we want to know the total revenue numbers. And of course, we obviously we would want to know how each individual these product segment revenues change when we select our scenarios. So we want to know what happens to the Botox revenue, US, international. Let's see here. We also want to know fillers, US, international. And lastly, we had cosmetics. So lastly, cosmetics revenue. Let's indent. So Alt H6. And then Alt H6 again for the geography segments. We don't have to lean these. Whoops. Yep, these don't have to be in italics, so Control I. Right, so let's link our individual data from our EBIT tab. So let's link total revenue to total revenue. Compound annual growth rate is also connected. So it's also neighboring. So let's simply link CAGR as well. We also want to link Botox revenue. So this is going to be a little bit of grunt work. And let's make sure that we link these properly. Sometimes we make mistakes when we do simple grunt work, and that's when it gets really painful. So let's focus and try to avoid any mistakes. So Botox international revenue. Fillers, total revenue fillers. US, international, and lastly, cosmetics as well. A little bit of formatting. Control Shift 1, Alt H9. Control Shift 5, Alt H0 for decimal points. and a little bit of additional formatting. And then the target price, let's highlight it in the color red. It's such an important output, so we want to make sure it stands out. And a little ribbon on the top to display, to give an idea of what it means. So we're going to say current scenario. Looks nice. And usually, I believe that usually analysts will also want to know the gross profit margin, operating profit margin, and lastly, net profit and net profit margin. So let's just add an additional operating profit margin. We're ignoring gross profit for simplicity. And lastly, net profit and net profit margin. Let's link operating profit from our model tab. As well as operating profit margin. Of course, we can always calculate it, but since we already have the data here, we'll just try and link the data here. Same goes for net profit as well. Oh, actually, we used the phrase net income, so same goes for net income and the net profit margins. Once again, a little bit of formatting. Let's format paste. So Control C, Alt EST, then F4. For the margins, again, Control C, Alt EST. I'm just going to erase these rows over here. And let's draw some border lines, because it seems very confusing since the data is crammed in such a small area. So Alt HBD. Alt HBD is one of the shortcuts that we use for border lines very often, because we rarely draw vertical border lines. We usually draw horizontal lines, and Alt HBD that creates border lines both on the top and the bottom, and that's the reason why we use this shortcut so often, so frequently. And then let's give another border line here. Alt HBD again. Maybe we want one more over here. Alt HBD. So now, of course, if you have a longer screen, as soon as we change the current scenario, you can see the data changing right away as soon as we change our current scenario, and we can really get a instant idea of what's going to happen to the share prices, the target price, and the revenue numbers when as soon as we change the scenario options. Right? But as I mentioned before, we want to compare the base case with our bear case and bull case, and we want to see, we want to make a summary about what, how it changes. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make an exact copy of this format over here. And two more. So Control C, Control V, Control V. We're going to name this one the bull case. So second box, we're going to name it the base case. And the third one, the bear case. And what we're going to do, we're going to select the bull case. And we're going to copy these. Actually, let's just copy the numbers. We're going to copy this data set. And then we're going to value paste Alt ES V. We're going to value paste the data to the bottom. So this data does not change when we choose a different scenario. So even if we change it to the base scenario, because these data sets are linked to our original model, these data points change. However, because we've hard-coded these numbers, these numbers remain the same. So now what we're going to do, we're going to copy again the base case scenario data to the base case hard-copied display area, Alt ES V. And lastly, for the bear case as well, we're going to change our current scenario to the bear case. We're going to copy across the data points. We're going to value paste Alt ES V to the bottom. Let's switch it back to our base case. Oh, and let's also change the title over here. So for display only, hard copied. So now we can instantly see our bull case, our base case, and our bear case and compare it with each other. So we can see that in terms of revenue, there's a huge upside to our bull case. And we're going to, according to the bull case, we're going to have a 23.2% compound annual growth rate. So it's almost going to double from our historical performance, which is very aggressive, very, very aggressive. We can see that our target price also accordingly increases dramatically. We can also see that for operating profit, for the operating profit, So profitability also becomes, a little bit better because of operating leverage, probably mainly because we do have a little bit of fixed costs in our SG&A forecast. So due to fixed cost effects, there's going to be also an improvement in margin, which will also hit the target price as well. And the same goes with net profit and net profit margin. So yeah, looking at this, we can understand that our model is also working properly. It's going the right direction. As revenue grows, our model is designed to automatically have some financial leverage. Our model is automatically adjusting target price as well. So it not only shows the comparisons, but we can also kind of get confidence on our model's mechanics as well. So this was our scenario analysis, and later on at the end of this course, we're going to also make a bull bear chart. So we're going to build a bull bear chart over here. We're also going to put in some cute icons as well. So we're going to build a bull bear chart. I think that's going to be kind of like a finishing touch to the scenario analysis. But anyways, I believe most of you have now understood how scenario analysis works and the mechanics behind it. And we hope that you could, always apply scenarios to your current working model. So this would be it for our scenario analysis, and let's move on to our PPE schedule.